Oh, hello there. My name is Dee, and you're watching Days Like These. So today I have something new in store for us, and I'm hoping the end result turns out good because I'm hoping to be able to give it as a gift for my mom for Mother's Day. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. So now I'm in my craft room, and I'm going to give y'all a little hint as to what this week's craft is going to be.
Majesty, Paolo is exhausted because Majesty, only Paolo, can take this and give you
a princess.
If your guess was loom knitting, you would be correct. So the idea behind this project was that I was recently gifted a whole box of different size looms for loom knitting, and of course I've never done it before, so I thought that what a better way to get into it than to do it on this channel, and then also use this time and use this craft to make something useful for my mom for Mother's Day. So what we will be making today is an ear warmer. My mom likes to go on runs, and she told me about how her ears get cold, so I found a pattern or a video tutorial that we'll follow, and yeah, let's get into it. The tutorial that I'll be following is this one right up here, and I'll also link it down in the description in case y'all want to follow along. One of the very first things I'd like to do when starting a brand new project with the help of a tutorial is to watch the tutorial all the way through before starting the project. This helps to kind of familiarize yourself with where the steps are taking you and how they all fit together. At this point, you'll see Sue Ellen jump up on the table, and while I thought she was trying to be sweet, she was actually just trying to attack the yarn. So, yeah. But at least I finished the tutorial and am now ready to start the project. Or so I thought. Before I even started the project, I went to prepare my yarn, and although it says to pull from the outside, I could not find the end of this yarn anywhere. So in the end, I just decided to cut it. So the project was going good for about the first 2.5 rounds or so, until I realized that the part of the yarn that I cut earlier, and the strand that I chose to start the project with was actually from the center pole. And if you ever used the center pole on a skein of yarn, you know that it usually comes with a lot of knots. And as you're about to see, that's exactly what happened to me.
Bruh.
So I tried to be a good sport about it, thinking that if I simply untangled the knot, that I would just be able to continue with the project.
Nope.
And yeah, no. The knot was completely severed from the rest of the ball, so that means I have to start all over. So here I am, starting again. Now I know that I could have technically just tied the two loose ends together and kept working, but I didn't want the beginning of my project to have two knots, the starting slip knot and that joining knot, so I just decided to start over entirely. Now once again, the project was going pretty well until I realized at the end of the first row that I had made another mistake.
You know what? What was that? Okay.
I did the entire first row wrong. So, yeah. I was gonna have to start over again. And at this point, I just decided that it was time for a break. So it is currently almost 1:30 in the morning, and I just finished my break where I just took a step back from the project and took a moment to myself to just relax and edit some of the footage that I've already gotten this evening. With that being said, I'm going to bed. We're kind of back to square one with the project, and so if there's a good enough time to stop, now's a good enough time as any. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Here we are on day 2, just setting everything up. And yes, I do use a Walmart bag to store all my projects. It not only keeps it separated and organized, but we also have plenty of Walmart bags and plastic bags just laying around. If you were wondering what yesterday's mistake was, it was this. So you're supposed to wrap it like that all the way around, and I was wrapping it like this for a whole row. So that is why I decided to just completely restart today. So here we are on attempt 3. Everything was going pretty well, similarly to the last few attempts, but I eventually noticed something that needed to be fixed, and I'm going to show y'all that here in a few seconds. So as you can see, what mine was looking like was not what hers was looking like. I think I double wrapped it. Luckily for me, it was just an easy fix. All I had to do was redo that first row, so I eventually figured it out. Something interesting about this project was it really took me out of my comfort zone. I've never used a loom before. I've never loom knit before. I'm used to crocheting, so it was definitely something that I had to learn, and I had to be okay with making mistakes and starting over and just continuing, even though at some points it was very frustrating and I wanted to stop. But I think it's a good learning moment just to know that it's okay to make mistakes, because mistakes are how we learn and ultimately grow. So as long as you learn from your mistakes and use it towards growing towards your goal, you'll eventually reach that goal. And let's just remember the overall lesson, especially in the next few seconds. So this was the moment that I realized that in the previous round I had completely missed a peg, and that there was no way that I was going to be able to salvage it, and you'll see me like struggling to try and salvage it here. It literally, with the tool that you use for loom knitting, it felt like I was a dentist, like a dental hygienist, and scraping the plaque off of someone's teeth. It was crazy. But I ultimately decided just to start over. So we are now on attempt 4. For video link's sake and y'all's sake, I decided to just cut to where we were all caught up at this part. So now you'll just see me working. At this point in the tutorial, we're on the repeat rows section, so I kind of stopped referring to the tutorial and just worked along. By the end of this, I got to like 6 rows, and there's supposed to be like 30 something, so we definitely have a long way to go, but it's definitely coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So here we are on day 3, and things were going good. Almost too good, you might say. And honestly, at this point, I had reached a flow state. Like, the repeat rounds were flying by, which only makes what I'm about to say even harder. I'm gonna have to start over. Not only because I didn't pick a yarn that was bulky enough, but also because somewhere in the beginning, it seems that I had accidentally connected the 2 pieces, as you can see, and I can't remove that without having to start over anyway. So that's where we are. So this wasn't working, so we're changing gears. Now I know I said I didn't want to give up on the loom knitting, and that was kind of the whole lesson in this project, but while I still do think it's important not to give up, and it's important to, you know, it's okay to make mistakes because that's how we grow and reach our goals ultimately. I think it's also important when you realize something is not working, like using the loom knitting for this project, that you decide to switch gears and try something different so that you may be able to reach your goal, even though it may not be in the same way you intended. With that being said, this is not the end of the story for the loom knitting. I will totally pick it back up some other time, but for right now, with Mother's Day quickly approaching, I'd rather stick to something that I think I have a little bit more skill in, and I think I can whip up pretty quickly. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So we are now on day 4 of this project and on attempt 5 of the project. Now that I'm doing crochet, I have found another tutorial that I will be following, and I will link it down in the description in case any of y'all want to follow along. Alright, so here it is. I am so happy with how this turned out, and I cannot wait to give it to my mom for Mother's Day. So I think that's everything. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and until next time, bye!